Was regrettable. Julie Dunmeyer was inside for that news conference. She joins us now live. And Julie, you've had a chance to speak with people and hear some of that emotion associated with everything that's happened.
Josh, what I can tell you is that even a media member got sick, visibly disgruntled when we were shown the video, the clip of that cell phone video where you can see Patrick Lyoya shot and killed. I do want to say, too, that it's worth noting the police chief, for the first time since we've heard about this incident, has said that Patrick was shot in the head. We had previously asked that question. Now we have that from police. We had heard that from family. It's now coming from Grand Rapids Police as well. And we did get a chance to speak to Kent County Commissioner Robert Womack, who has been at the center of all of this. He's part of the encouragement for Ben Crump, a famous civil rights attorney in our country, one of the top civil rights attorneys in our country. Coming here, Womack has been pushing for that, pushing for those answers. He says, and what we heard from him today, that he wants people to remain upset, of course, but peaceful, not violent, saying that that is not the way to get the message across. He also talked at length about how that this is showing the progress that the city of Grand Rapids has made throughout the last few decades. Womack has lived here for 4 decades and has been through and been a very vocal part of these types of instances throughout the city's history. He's saying that this time that they are getting a little bit more transparency, pushing that needle forward. But he says at the end of the day, a man was shot and killed over a traffic stop. An unarmed man was shot and killed over a traffic stop. I was there that day, that April 4th, from 8 o'clock in the morning till around 2 in the afternoon. We spoke to an eyewitness who was there. In that video is one of those houses that largely that struggle is happening. That was his house, and here's what he had to tell us.
I feel if he had a weapon on him, he would have used it. Now, in that same breath, I will say that police officer did 5 or 6 steps to try to de-escalate that situation. It wasn't there, and then it just went from 2 to 10. And then pop, and I could tell the officer was shocked.
In that video, you can see just how quickly it does escalate to that use of deadly force. I asked directly questions about whether this use of deadly force was in accordance with Grand Rapids policing policy. The chief said he would not comment on that. I asked about disciplinary action for the officer as well, and he also said that he will not comment on that until after the Michigan State Police investigation is complete. We did also hear from Brandon Davis today, who is the director for the city's Office of Oversight and Public Accountability. Brandon Davis's entire job is to audit the internal affairs investigation that Grand Rapids Police will do on this incident once they receive that Michigan State Police investigation. So there is a separate department within the city who is going to be monitoring how the police department investigates this internally and will bring forth recommendations for policy changes. Davis spoke about things as though the length of the time for the video to be released, as well as the length of time for the officer's name to be released. He also spoke to make potential changes about when to stop a chase or policies like that. But none of that can change until that investigation is complete. Womack, encouraging the public to make sure they're doing everything that they can to keep this in honor of Patrick Lyoya, as his family has requested. Live in Grand Rapids, Julie Dunmeyer, Fox 17 News.